Hi, I'm Carol O'Mara, horticulture entomologist with Colorado State University Extension in Boulder County. It's April, and that means that we're starting to look at rejuvenating our rose bushes so they give us a beautiful show in June and the rest of the summer. What we're going to be looking at in pruning our roses today is starting to recognize some of the damage that winter can do to the canes and where to make the right pruning cuts. But before we can get any job going, you have to have the right tool for the job. When we're approaching a rose bush like this, there are smaller canes and there are also some larger woody canes that perhaps have died back. You really shouldn't try to use the same tools on both because it gets to be a little problematic for both your hands and the tools. So first off, the best tool you can have is a bypass pruner. These are hand tools that are situated so that they fit comfortably in your hand, especially when they're open like this. If the throw of the pruner is such that it is comfortable even at the widest opening, it's a good fit for your hand. Go shopping and make sure you get one that is a good size. You want a bypass pruner. That means that the top blade here that does the cutting actually passes beyond the second blade, the lower one that holds the cane in place. These will keep you from crushing the cane, ruining the wood and opening it up for disease. But for these bigger canes here, the ones that are at least 1.5 inches or thicker, and they've died back and they're really hard and woody, we really want to go after those with a much larger tool. This is called a lopper. It too is a bypass pruner. You can see here that the blade, being larger, still passes beyond the back blade here. It's able to take on some of these hard woody stems, and it's a lot easier on the hands not to have to squeeze like that. What we're going to be checking for is winter dieback. As you can see here, the canes start getting black and they're dying back towards the ground. What we're looking for is lower down on these canes for where it's blushing green for the spring. This green that we're going to be making our pruning cuts, removing all this dead material so that we don't have any dead canes harboring disease or possibly insects for the spring. When you're making a pruning cut, check out how the cane is leafing out. If you're looking at this one, you can see here, it's already getting off to a pretty fast start. And when you're making your pruning cut, you want to make sure that the cane will grow in a direction that is going to be out of walkways and away from people. So when we're examining the canes and trying to decide where to make our cut, what we're looking at is the cane will die back during winter and especially here in spring. And it will look black and it'll go black into the green here. It's only in spring where it really starts greening up all the way that you can see how far down you're going to have to make your pruning cuts. So what we're going to be looking for is making a pruning cut 1/4 inch into the green and right above a bud. And our bud is right down here. And so what we're going to do is make the pruning cut. And we're going to be making it so that it's at an angle, a 45-degree angle, just above the bud in the same direction. So the top part of our 45-degree angle is going to be 1/4 inch above that bud. And we're just going to prune it like that. So on a big cane like this one, you can see here we have a lot to choose from. But the problem is that it's reaching out and over this driveway here. So when we're making our decisions on this, we could make a cut right here above this bud because it's been dying back, but this means it's still going to be in a walkway for us. What we'd ideally need to do is take it towards a bud that will be driving it back away from where people walk. What we're looking at now is this bud here has died. It got a little nipped by the frost. We're still looking for the green living buds like this one way up here. You can see it's still green and flush with a little bit of growth. It's just starting to swell up. So this is a living bud and it would be great to make a cut in front of that. Or we can start going further down this cane here. This one is alive, and this one, of course, pretty obvious, it's already to leaf out. If we wanted to, we could take this entire cane well back to this point. Now, at this time of the year, because we're still susceptible to those frosts, we might want to hedge our bets and not take it all the way down to the final prune. We might want to take off just a little bit so that we can walk by. And then once we get through these really frosty nights, if these buds are all still, you know, pretty solid, they're not getting too nipped back and killed back, we can make a final prune a little bit closer to our frost date. And then we're left with growth that we know is going to happen, not get frosted out, and will grow in the direction we like it. Now, an important aspect of looking at the rose first thing in spring is anything that died back in the winter has to come off. And if you have any of these canes that are now rubbing one another like this one is here, you want to prune those off. This is gray, it's not living anymore, so if we can get down into the bush itself to try and clean that out, that would be the way to go. You sometimes have to just worry the pruners down into it and then pull it out. Be careful, they are pretty thorny. The other thing to look for are branches that are growing towards the center of the rose and crossing like this one is. You can see this one is coming all the way across, rubbing on so many of them, and it's making a problem out there. That's the type of thing that we definitely want to get out, because in the growing season, we don't want anything crossing towards the center of the plant. So you can take it back here, make a nice pruning cut with your loppers, and just clean this one right out. Lastly, if you're left with some of these huge old woody ones, if you're left with some of these huge old woody canes, just take them off. Get your lopper in there so that you can really take them off as low as possible. This is one of those things that you don't want to use those hand pruners on because they've hardened out. They're pretty petrified by now. So you really just have to use this bypass pruner to snap them off, and then you can take them out. All you have to do now is keep cleaning up the center of the rose so that it's open to sunlight, and then you're left to assess all these nice green canes and the direction that you can have the buds growing.